Today, no questions at the beginning of the video. The topic of this video is aim, such a simple word that holds so much within it. What does aim consist of? Your skill at aiming for the head, your ability to move and position yourself, your pre-aiming skills, and confidence. The last one, in my opinion, is the most important when it comes to shooting. You don't have to be Scream, Aspis, or 10Z to outshoot your opponents. You just need to be confident in your skills. Let's talk about it briefly before moving on to practical examples. What affects your confidence? There are many factors. It could be your mood, life situation, whether you warmed up before the game, and how you think about the game. I can't influence your life, but I can try to convey the idea of staying calm. The Japanese say, worrying about tomorrow's problems robs you of today's peace. What does a specific game mean to you? How is it different from others? If you're playing another matchmaking game, remember the fact that you've already played hundreds, if not thousands, of similar games. This game doesn't really affect anything, but you can always learn something from each game that will help you win in future matches. This is what you should focus on, not on your teammates and why they didn't realize you needed a stun, not on the opponents and why the enemy Jett is hitting so many headshots, but on what you did, what the opponent did, who capitalized on whose mistakes, what the mistake was, and how to avoid it in the future. You might argue and say that every game affects your rank, and yes, it does. But given the existence of the hidden MMR system, your actual rank may differ from the one you currently have. Your worries cause you to make mistakes. Sometimes you might play too passively, fearing to make an error and missing a chance to win a round. Other times you might play too aggressively, giving up your team's advantage. A cool head is what leads to victory. As strange as it might sound, forget about the game. But don't get me wrong, I don't mean total indifference like when people go 0 to 4 and type GG and suggest surrendering because they've lost faith in the team. As I've said before, until the scoreboard shows 13 rounds, everything can still change. You shouldn't worry about two things, the outcome of the game and your personal score. You are learning. Everyone is learning. You play to progress, and as you progress, you improve your game skills, which will lead to higher ranks. Next is your positioning on the map. This is a fairly simple topic, learning to strafe at the right time, using short peaks, shoulder peaks, jump peaks, wide peaks, understanding map geometry, off-angle positions, pre-fire spots, and understanding how the enemy sees a particular position. You can find guides for every peak online, and I don't want to repeat what others have already done. But there are a few things I want to clarify. The first thing to remember is the right shoulder advantage. If you peek from the right shoulder while your opponent peeks from the left, you will see them first. The skill of pre-fire and pre-aiming develops with experience, but to improve it, you can go to an empty map and practice peeking every popular position. The key is to aim at head level. To start, you can place pings and then try without them. The concept of off-angle positions comes from the idea of pre-fire positions. These are positions that aren't typically pre-aimed, meaning players don't place their crosshair there in advance. These positions are hardest to check and are often occupied by agents like Jett, Reyna, Chamber, and Yoru. Lastly, there's the skill of head aiming. This is both simple and complex at the same time. The first thing I want to say, don't try to change your sensitivity settings to match those used by pro players. If you've been playing on a certain sensitivity, keep playing with it. But there are two exceptions. If your sensitivity is too high or too low, you should change it. Too low means you can't turn 180 degrees without tossing your mousepad out the window. An example of low sensitivity is 0.1 cents at 1600 dpi, which is what Demon 1 plays on. My sensitivity, if anyone's interested, is 0.11 cents at 1600 dpi. An example of high sensitivity is IANQ, who plays on 0.45 cents at 1600 dpi. What sensitivity should you choose if you're curious? I would pick a lower one, and that's what I did.
I usually
Why? It allows you to aim very precisely at any distance.
gotcha.
Its downside is close-range combat, but that's mitigated with game experience. Why not go for a higher one? It's fast, but speed often comes at the cost of accuracy, and you'll tend to overshoot or undershoot. Its weakness is long-range engagements, and I don't think I need to explain why. So, how do you train your aiming skills? The first thing I recommend is downloading Aim Labs. It's a free app that lets you train your aiming skills. One of its advantages is that you can set your game settings, and Valorant is one of the games supported. You're probably expecting me to give you advice on which maps to play, but there won't be any advice. Why? Because you know better than I do which situations are tough for you, where you miss shots or undershoot, etc. My favorite maps are Gridshot 3x3 and Gridshot Ultimate. These are simple targets that pop up in a grid. They're medium-sized, allowing me to train both speed and accuracy. I'll say one thing. You probably don't need to train tracking. Valorant is not Warzone. It only takes one bullet to kill. The next thing I recommend after Aim Labs is specific training on the range. It's simple. You do 3 things: train your aim, train your strafing, and train your aim while strafing. For more advanced players, practice flicks and shooting while crouching briefly. A key point: don't limit yourself to one shooting style, whether it's one-taps or full sprays. Different game situations require different styles. Train them all. And finally, go into deathmatch and do the same with real players. After such a warm-up, which will take you about 10 to 20 minutes, you'll improve your aim and be ready for the game. For those who want faster progress, you can dedicate more time to this, but be careful. Warm up your wrist, or you'll get carpal tunnel syndrome. That's all for now.
Push up. Oh wait. Oh, okay. Gotta go fast.